like to buy a bedroom set.
Do you have any credit?
No, I receive Social Security and welfare.
You ever see the special man?
Let her have it. With no problem.
I like to buy a living room set.
Do you have any credit?
No, I filed bankruptcy.
You have to see the special man.
Let her have it. With no problem.
I say, see Frankie and Johnny, easy credit man in town for only $50 down. They can put you in a living room set, a bedroom set today. See the special man.
I got the $50.
Let her have it. With no problem.
I got it with no problem.
You know, his feelings are his feelings. My feelings are the Capitol Police absolutely need to be abolished and at the very least investigated. Michael Byrd needs to swing from the end of a rope, along with Nancy Pelosi. So, Tammy, maybe if they play some music where they come from.
Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us.
tick faster. That'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Dick dastardly, a monthly with sick laughter. A gunfight and they come to cut the mix master. And living the true gods, giving y'all nothing but the lick like two broads. Got more lyrics than the church got ooh lords. And they hold the mic at your attention like two swords. Or you the one with two blades on it. Hey you, don't touch the mic like it's AIDS on it.
All right. Welcome once again to the beatzillapdx official show. I am your host, beatzillapdx, officially. And this is the weekly wrap up. And today we're talking about the Back the Badge Back Peddle. Today, which of course you see is January 6th. And Ashley Babbitt, and she's the one who was slain during the, attempted coup, if you will, of January 6th to overthrow the government. They frame it, of course, as overthrowing an election. But when you're talking about white nationalism, what would be the point for doing all of that unless you're looking to overthrow the government? You're not just going to say, well, you're going to agree to overturn this election and we'll go home. No, that is a government overthrow. But there are some interesting developments just coming on about that and how America plays. Well, because if you go back and remember, Colin Kaepernick and everybody who kneeled was considered to be unpatriotic. So yeah, let's go visit that. But before we do, family, if you would, please hit that like button, share this on your social media. And if you have not already subscribed to this channel, you can do so right now, and you can even become a member. But if you do subscribe to this channel, make sure you hit that notification bell, hit the word all. That way you'll be notified anytime this channel goes live or a video is uploaded or a video is premiering. This broadcast, of course, is a air, so it's tape delayed, if you will. So we'll not be able to greet everybody in the chat as we normally do. But with that being said, I would like to thank everybody and all of you subscribers who have now got us over the 1,800 mark. So thank y'all, all 1,800 of you plus. And to the members and the other watchers who have yet to subscribe, and to all the impressions of people who do see these videos, thank you. And, let's bring some more activity to this channel. There is a lot of content on it. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed the experience here. And once again, thank all of you for subscribing to this channel and helping it stay here, So, thank everybody. We are at 1,800. Let me see. 1,803 of you. So I'd like to say peace, power, blessings, and protection be up on all of you. Thank you. Now, moving on to the first story. It comes out of there's a new report from the Urban League about the state of Black America, which when I seen that, I'm like, okay, it's very interesting. But I guess this is something that is normally done. It's the report that they put out. So with that being said, I want to take, and by the way, before I get into this video, I guess they have avoided a shutdown temporarily. So there's a partial deal to avoid the shutdown or partial shutdown or whatever. And that has just happened today as well. And then, of course, over there in this crazy war that everybody wants Black folks to cape for, it looks like the Israeli troops or police or whoever over there went down, gunning folks down in a food line. Over 100 people. And we're supposed to be funding that willfully and saying that's our ally. You want to ally with people who do that, huh? All right. It's the state of America, I guess. it's very interesting what people are pushing these days. So again, that's something that happened. And with this situation, with the state of the Black America report, it's basically telling you everything that we already here know. This is what the grassroots knows. And I would have to assume that, the timing of this is perfect, by the way. It is absolutely perfect that is happening right now, isn't it? And so just look at how all of a sudden people are starting to talk about when it comes to Black folks. And this is March 1st, by the way. We're out of Black History Month and into Women History Month. And this is what MSNBC is doing March 1st.
Report published just today by the National Urban League finds all is not equal for Black Americans. The report says when it comes to economic and social status, Black Americans are missing about a quarter of the equality that white Americans enjoy. The 2024 State of Black America report takes a look at how things have changed for Black Americans as we approach now the 60-year anniversary of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. And the report analyzes new data on voting, poverty, and incarceration rates, among others, as well as President Biden's progress on his commitments to racial justice. Mark Morrell is the president and CEO of the National Urban League and is joining us now. Mark, thanks so much for coming in. It is fascinating and important to look at this issue. Your report says Black Americans just enjoy 75% of the pie when it comes to equality. Why?
And not like that should be shocking at all. This shouldn't. And she's up there sounding, wow, I can't believe this is so. Yes, ma'am. Black to white equality. Reparations would absolute. And you're talking about, and he, him like others are the quote unquote study pushers. Like the HR 40 bill, which is a dead bill at this point. That's a reparations commission. When all of these other things don't need commissions, they already have things in place, so you have something to go off of. All this stuff that they're doing with the commissions and all of that, and to some degrees the task force, because these task force are being used to put other people in the conversation that don't belong there and start interjecting a bunch of things that do not benefit the people who are due reparations in the first place. So, yeah, no, I don't think so.
Why that 75%? What's behind that? What areas are unequal?
So thank you for having me. Context, 60 years after the Civil Rights Act of 1964, when the divisions in America, the playing field in America was far more uneven. So the first question is, have we made progress since 1964? Obviously, the answer is yes. However, parity is still elusive. And today, while we've made progress, that parity still remains if we continue at the pace we've been going 180 years away.
Wow.
So these.
See, now here's something that he could do in this moment and maybe start interjecting some of those roadblocks that have and those targeted things that have happened to this same particular group of people. And this is the perfect, but you're on talking about the state of Black America. When you have a large, loud voice out here screaming reparations, that would be a perfect time to segue. Or this would be a perfect time to steer the conversation towards intangibles or the non-tangibles, shall I say.
These are numbers, statistics, social and economic statistics. homeownership rates, jobless rates, income levels, wealth levels, life expectancies, death rates due to diseases. 300 data sets we compile into an index to try to make it easy and understandable for people to get a sense of not the rhetoric of equality, but the actuality of equality in America today. So
Black folks need that? Or is that for someone else? Because if you ask me, I'm pretty sure Black folks know the financial state of Black America. I don't think anybody's in the dark. I mean, one would think, but I could be wrong.
that report's available for free at stateofblackamerica.org.
Now, what can be done to then accelerate the rate that you mentioned? 180 years at the rate we're going, that, you know, will still be unequal if we just keep on keeping on. Have you been able to identify what it'll take to get there faster?
Well, let me just identify, if you will, before touching that, what thwarts progress. So in the instant case, we now see a new aggressive backlash. It attacks diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is really
No, it's not new. It is not new. Why would you sit up there and tell that lie? You were literally talking about 180 years of slow progress. That's not by accident. It's by design, because we already had things that were growing. The American government came and destroyed them. I'm sure in your city or state, there is a freeway running right through where your progressive Black community used to be. See, here's the one thing that they don't like to tell you about the West Coast. We're spread out by way of these type of things. When you start getting out here out west, freeways go straight through where the well-to-do Black community used to be. The middle class to well-to-do. Oh no, you couldn't have all that Black economics, Black businesses, Black ownership going on, money circulating within the Black community without even leaving, just like everybody else's. The United States government helped themselves to work us back into the situation of despair as a community, as a group. And that's on top of the harm of chattel slavery to begin with. Not to mention, there's another thing that's happening right now. ABC, I believe, is dealing with this other thing that they're dealing with the recordings of slaves. So some of the recordings were like from the 40s. The latest one, I believe, is 1974, from a woman who was 114 years old. And so ABC is running that. Oh man, what is the name of that? Oh man, it's something having to do with slavery. It actually is pretty interesting, because they have a website as well. Doggone it! If it comes to me, I will put it in the description. But here, the gist of the matter is, they're just getting you to understand slavery was not that long ago. And chances are, if you were born in the 60s or 70s, you have a relative that either was born in slavery or is the offspring of someone who was born in slavery. So we're not that far removed. We're not talking ancient, as they like to say. This is ancient. It's ancient. No, it ain't. It's younger. Well, not the beginning, but the ending of it is younger than the country. And this country is not old as country's age. No. America didn't exist 1,000 years ago. So there is the truth of that. When you're talking ancient, that would be like 1,000 years ago, or at least take us to the Dark Ages when the Byzantine ruled. The Dark Ages. And that's what some people call that time, is the Dark Ages. Like there was just some period of time where civilization fell off. Oh, I bet you somewhere black folks was thriving, but that's not how they wrote it. Nonetheless, let's hear more of this guy.
About economic opportunity. It attacks access to the ballot in terms of voter suppression, gerrymandering, voter purges. For example, it attacks tools like the child tax credit and the earned income tax credit, which lift people out of poverty. So in many respects, yes, there's a policy.
Tax returns ain't lifting nobody out of poverty, brother. Since when? Yeah, baby. Look here. I'm going to take this and then I'm going to flip this. And then me and you, lady, me and you, baby, we going to be on and popping. No. See, I'm just going to take this little tax return check, see? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go over to my man's in there, and he got a little something for me. So we're going to just make that work. We're going to cut that thing down the pie. It's just going to split up a little bit. And next thing you know, I'm going to flip that, and then boom, we're going to be all up in there, baby. He really talking about now, yes, the extra money for children on your taxes, it comes in handy. True indeed. It definitely is a help for about a month or two. Depending on what you really got going on bills-wise, you're basically just using that to get back even in a lot of cases. Maybe a vacation. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, you're not getting lifted out of poverty on your tax returns. That's insane.
Agenda, from minimum wage to a commission on reparations to substantial reform of policing and accountability and the criminal justice system. Yes. And I think I'd like people to remember that from 1965 to 1980, voting with the Johnson Warren Pine program, the nation made significant progress. Since then, there's been progress, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And that's the context of today. So I remain powerfully optimistic, but realistic that we've got to resist the resistance movement that is seeking to thwart progress in America.
Now, they're not looking to thwart progress in America. They're looking to further supremacy. And in no way with this report, he's just basically pulling a Joe Biden. We're going to tell you how bad it is without any type of plan or solution on how to attack it. Here is the man and the leader of the Urban League. Where are all of these Congressional Black Caucus members and the NAACP and NAN to sit up here and stand with this to say, we need a plan of action for Black America? Black conservatives, do you have no shame? Congressional Black Caucus, do you have no shame for never opening your mouth and advocating for these people right here? And clearly, y'all don't.
A minute left here, but I'm curious to get your take on just your assessment of the Biden administration. I know this is something you looked into, and it's an election year. What's your assessment?
We looked at President Biden's commitments, his promises, and his performance, and he fares well with significant unfinished business. So
where? Now watch what he's about to list off.
I think we have to urge people to look at the facts and look at the record. What did the president promise? He promised an African-American woman as vice president.
And we did not get an African-American woman as president. We don't have, or vice president. We don't have that one now. Where is she an African-American? I would love to hear somebody explain that. How is Kamala Harris an African American? At best, you could say her father was black. Yeah, but he's Jamaican, which makes her Jamaican. They just love shoving that lie out there. It's amazing. This woman has Caucasian on her birth certificate. Come on, man.
He promised an African-American woman on the Supreme Court. He promised an economy.
Ketanji Brown Jackson, who's known for screwing over black folk.
Now the black unemployment rate is about half of what it was the day he took office. When we look,
the day he took office was during a complete shutdown. And for those of you who have been with me long enough, you will remember when I've told you that make sure you remember me saying this. Joe Biden and his people will start trying to use the return back to opening up and getting back to normal. They're going to make that seem like he did something, boosting something up while we've been in a shutdown for a damn year. But he's going to sell it as, oh, yes, and the staggering difference I made to the economy when I took office. When you took office, nothing was moving. That is so dishonest to you. That's a hustle and a con to keep even mentioning, to be quite honest. Like, why are you telling me this line? Hey, man, do I look like I'm stupid? I mean, and this is what people want you to do. They want you to go ahead and play yourself. We know what was going on. Same thing with the border. Everybody's like, the Republicans and O'Shea Pierre. I wish I had that to play. O'Shea Pierre goes on a rant talking about how, President Biden is concerned about security at the border and yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, he's not. And he's proven time and time again, he's not concerned with anything of the such. But, I guess just fake it till you make it. And I guess if you ain't trying, if you ain't lying. What it seems like over here. And look at that. Come on, Negroes. Come on, Jim. Help me gather up all these goons. And let's go over here and get this photo op happening.
The facts. The case is that the president has substantially met, but we also recognize.
Family, wait a minute. Why do behind President Biden look like? Have y'all ever seen Head of State? Chris Rock movie. For those of you who have ever seen the Chris Rock Head of State movie, my man back there looked like the stand-in, and he just matured into just straight Secret Service. While he up there dressed like Martin Luther King marching in Selma. Oh, we shall overcome. We shall overcome. What if they start singing that at football games?
The case is that the president has substantially met, but we also
he has not.
Unfinished business in a range of areas. So this is a progress report.
Like student loans.
More on student loans, police accountability, voting rights, living wage, a commission on reparations. There are a range of things. We outline them in the report that we encourage the president to double down on, emphasize, and renew his commitment. But let's be honest, his commitments, the fact that he made explicit commitments, were historic. And I would give the president a powerful mark in terms of working to live up to those commitments, but there is more to be done.
How, brother? In what area can the average Black American see that to be true? Where? What area? It's not like something they're talking about. And for those of you who watched my last broadcast, one of the videos I played where Joe Biden is making the pivot, and he starts talking about immigrants. Do you know the question that he was asked was about reparations? So, I mean, I'm just saying, for those of y'all who do not understand about who Joe Biden is, oh, Trump, man, please miss me. This is exactly why we saying we voting for the couch. He ain't gonna hustle us. And then talking about, well, Joe Biden made sure on his promises. Oh, yeah, he sure did. Because never forget what took place day one.
I'd like to understand from you what Trump-era immigration policies have been banned, ended, reversed, and if any investigations are underway by you.
So we have rescinded so many Trump immigration policies, it would take so much time to list them.
He's proud of that. Oh, he's too proud of that, ain't he? I mean, he's super proud. And here's another thing. Here's one of the things of the George Floyd Justice Act. Of course, it never happened. And this is like to even think that Joe Biden was going in some kind of direction like this. It's really insane when you think about it. It's like you can't possibly believe the dude that wrote the bill with Strom Thurmond is literally fitting to pass this law. He's the one advocating and even asking Bill Clinton for more police. So man, police done got militarized based off of this man's recommendations, and all of these police officers was doing was targeting us. When they had to start addressing the police brutality and all of this, one thing that you should notice when the police started retiring, why were they retiring? Because they felt they couldn't do their jobs anymore. Well, what is your job? If you mean to tell me if you can't go be brutal and brutalize Black folks, then you're not doing your job. So that's the job of a policeman, obviously. Which, I mean, if you look back at slave catchers, then okay, well, that kind of makes sense. Unlike what this woman always has to say, but we live in her head rent free, But like I said, family, some of us, you might just come to the reality that we have to do something different. And sometimes you just have to be independent for independence. And those of us who got sense, we fully are aware that Ukraine is not our responsibility. Not sure how some people think, but nonetheless, this is the conversation here. And the badge back pedal. Boy, that Diane Yap something else though, ain't she? Oh man, and I'm talking about Black folks living this woman head completely rent free. Oh man. So let me see. There's something else I needed to mention to y'all. Let me see. Is this? Oh yeah. Okay. So there's an interesting story that I found. Today, and recently, so yeah, before we get to the January 6th story, I needed to tell you this little part. Because I found this very suspect. So we know Michigan was a Rashida Tlaib. They had a protest vote, voting uncommitted, and it made some waves. Of course, you know, because as foundational Black Americans are trendsetters, you know, the freedmen. I mean, and you know what's so funny? Like literally, I got, you know, when you talk about family members that established my generations, the word freedman is also attached. So, you know, there's that part. Now, and that's a very important designation, by the way, when you think of it, freedmen. There's no one else that could sit up here and say they were freed men, because you never were in chattel slavery. You were never property. You may be an indentured servant, but you don't have to be freed, because there's conditions to your freedom in the first place. And not to mention, if anybody talks about indentured servants, they also got paid their reparations as well. But we are due, even from the so-called 5 civilized tribes. Yeah. And I've read that piece here about the Cherokee. But with what I'm saying, I said all that to say that, you know, in Michigan, they made some noise, and it's a largely Muslim populated area that used their vote to protest. Like everybody shames Black people against doing. And now they're trying to somehow shame Muslims. But also in how they like to do us, and how we know we get done over here, you know, just as the Black family. Let's see, how do I unsplit these? Unsplit that. Okay, there we go. So there's a article that I came across. New Black Muslim group wants to put pressure on Biden, but not abandon him. I also find it interesting that this new Muslim organization shows up right after Savior's Day. Because Farrakhan just spoke Sunday. I didn't get a chance to catch his speech, but you know, I know he actually I have it marked to go watch it. So I plan to do that this weekend. This is dry. But you know, when you start hearing about new organizations, a new organization that somehow MSNBC felt it prudent to do an article on them, brand new out of nowhere. And I guess they expected no red flags to pop up on this one. So again, what are we saying here? A new national organization called Black Muslim Leadership Council is hoping to pressure elected officials, including President Joe Biden, to call for a permanent ceasefire in the Middle East. Detail of the group were shared first with NBC News. But the organization is also making it clear that many of its members are focused on U.S. domestic challenges and do not support abandoning the president at a time when a movement by another group of Muslims is pushing to do just that. Okay. Salima Suswell, founder and chief executive of the Black Muslim Leadership Council, said the group will be focused both on the thousands of civilians killed in Gaza during the war between Israel and Hamas, and the domestic issues such as mobilizing voters in swing states. Does this sound Muslim to you? Or does this just sound DNC? So, such as mobilizing voters in swing states and pushing lawmakers to lay out policies to improve the lives of Black Muslims living across the United States. Black Muslims living across the United States. That's an awfully broad brush we're working with there now, aren't we? Biden is facing backlash for his refusal to demand a permanent ceasefire in the war, and the other Muslim groups are seeking to grow an effort they have dubbed, quote, "Abandon Biden," which calls for people not to support the president at the ballot box in the uncompetitive primaries and potentially in the fall election. Quote, "I am focused on building and definitely not abandoning," Suswell said. You know what? Let me just do something real quick. Let me see something. Who is this Selena Suswell? Let me take this over here real quick. Bear with me 1 second. I just want to see if I can see who this woman is. Okay. Yes, indeed. Okay. All right. So, can I get that in here? Oh, you know what? Hold on. I know what I'll do. Hold on. Yep, here we go. Drag that there. Okay. Okay. So, because I need to see who this woman is, and I need y'all to see who she is. There's a picture that I did find. Let's see where we at. There it is. Because as I'm reading this, I want you to see who they're talking about when they're talking about Black Muslims. Well, this is Selena Suswell. That's the Black Muslim leader right there. And something else that's also striking me as not really Muslim. She's the leader of this. What Muslim group do you know has a woman leader? This family. What Muslim really? Okay. Anyway. Let's see. Quote, and this is a quote from her: "I believe that we need to continue to have open dialogue and conversations because this is how democracy works. And so my duty first is to my community, and it is my job to fight for my community to ensure that the government is working for us. And so Biden, along with every other political leader at home and globally, needs to hear what we need as a community right now." She added, quote, "While we're heartbroken about the humanitarian crisis overseas, we want to be open and available to discussions to achieve the goal of freedom and justice, not only for Palestinian people, but also for our communities domestically. Here's something that you probably should make first a priority: your community domestically. And if you have noticed so far, what I've read, she keeps putting the black community is a secondary agenda. Don't miss that. Let's see. Suswell, who also runs her own government affairs and community engagement consulting firm and worked for the Biden campaign in 2020 as a political advisor, stressed she is not ready to publicly say how she plans to vote in November. Quote, at the present, I have not abandoned Biden, unquote, she said. But I am uncommitted. Now, didn't they just vote uncommitted out there in Michigan? So she's out here saying, oh, well, I am uncommitted. Is this her getting street cred right here in the Muslim ranks? I'm just wondering. Suswell said the Black Muslim Leadership Council will focus much of its efforts on turning out voters in 3 swing states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. It will have both a political action wing that will be endorsing political candidates. Okay, so now you understand what they're saying. So they're going to go target. You saw where they were just voting. So now they are saying we're taking political action and we're targeting these areas. Michigan, which just showed you what time it was. Pennsylvania, to where they need the black vote for the swing. Georgia, where they also need the black vote for the swing. So Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, all 3 states that they need black votes to win. But they're trying to make this about a Muslim thing. So now they have this woman coming out of nowhere talking about Black Muslim Leadership Council, which makes no sense because there's no such thing led by a woman in the religion of Islam. So whatever this woman is selling is she's selling you a bill of goods, and it is not authentic from what I can see. Now, I can't say she doesn't practice her faith the way she believes it, but if she's out here doing this, standing in this position, I would have to believe that this is off. I don't know how this. Where else are there elements of women leading in any type of Muslim organization anywhere around the world? Only here in this situation are you, and they're putting black on it too. Why did you have to put black on it? Black Muslim leadership. That's another thing. The Black Muslims, like that also sounds like we want you. This really sounds like some AIPAC crap, to be quite honest. And so we're going to get back at the Nation of Islam, and we're going to call what most Nation of Islam people were called back in the day were Black Muslims. Even what you talking about in the 80s, you go down and look at that article or listen to the Phil Donahue. Phil Donahue, when he used to have Minister Farrakhan on, he'd have Dr. Khalid Muhammad on, and you will hear him talk about Black Muslims, Black Muslims, Black Muslims. So to bring that line into the game, that rubs me really wrong. And it just makes me think, because these are things for me, I go back and listen to a lot of that stuff. Like, because you got to know how you deal with people in that type of setting while you're in, because man, I have to tell you, those brothers held their own as you already knew they would, and did it with class and professionalism and with authority. So, I mean, those are things that I can always go back to and listen. Those will never get old to me with that brother. And them brothers just roasting Phil Donahue. And well-deserved too. But like I said, they're targeting these 3 swing states for voter turnout. Of course, we know who for. And then you have talking about this will have a political action wing that will be endorsing political candidates, as well as a nonprofit arm for nonpartisan activities such as voter turnout drives and election education classes. The group will also be open to backing a third-party presidential candidate or endorsing only down ballot candidates and staying silent about the presidential election options. Where have you guys heard that down ballot line before? Down ballot. You know what? I think that's all I need to. I've read enough. I've read enough. We see what this new Black Leadership Council is all about. This is just a Democratic Shield organization. You guys are going way over the top with it too. Doing the most. Because here's some more. Because it's funny. Let's see. Let me go down here. Okay. This is how you know this is some Democrat madness right here. Okay. Suswell said she and others hopes the group's formation. So it's brand new, just being formed, but already getting NBC press. Will lead Biden and other political leaders to engage more with Black Muslim voters and hear about their concerns over issues such as affordable housing, disparities in Black maternal health, economic opportunities, and education policies for young people. Here's the point about this Black Muslim madness. You're talking about areas that have high Somalian areas, high Nigerian populated areas. So they keep, and remember, Somalians do not identify with Black, they identify as Caucasian. But they're Black when it comes down to using Blackness to get something. And this is supposed to lead Biden to engage. Why would this lead Biden to engage anything? This tells you already off the rip that this is here to make sure Biden gets in there anyway. So that's what the whole purpose of this crap is. Keith Ellison, Minnesota's attorney general and vocal supporter of Biden's, said in an interview that he had been meeting with members of the, there it is. He's been meeting with members of the Black Muslim Leadership Council as they map out a way forward and that he supports their work. What work? They don't have a body of work. They just formed. Yeah, I'm done. So what I see now, like I said, there's a few things going on here with this, but they are using Black Muslims and the Black Muslims and the Black community and young people. This is a way to kind of undermine delineation. And they're trying to use it under the guise of this being some kind of religious move. Where are the other Muslims that are part of this? Because this, from everything that you heard, what makes you think that, like, where's the relation to anything of Islam? That she's wearing a hijab in her picture? Come on, man. It just all feels like super cap. And again, maybe I'm wrong, but it just feels like super cap. I mean, come on, man. Are we serious? All right. Okay, if y'all say so. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, don't hate cats. Family, you are tuned in to the weekly wrap up.
Tick faster. That'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Tick dastardly, a monthly with sick laughter. A gunfight and they come to cut the mix master. And living the true gods. Giving y'all nothing but the lick like two broads. Got more lyrics than the church got ooh lords. And they hold the mic at your attention like two swords. Or you the one with two blades on it. Hey you, don't touch the mic like it's AIDS on it.
So real quick, family, before we move on any further, I would just like to share with you. Okay. Yeah, where is that at? There we go. Hold on. The authors. There we go. Here's the authors of the State of Black America. Dedicated authors behind the National Urban League's impactful report. These are the faces behind the report, ladies and gentlemen.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
That's a doozy, ain't it? State of Black America, penned by Joe Biden. Well, we are really winning, ain't we? Man. And then you have to think, well, y'all just be hating on the black woman and all of this and the black woman. But this is what your so-called black woman had to say.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
Always remember there's that part. Yeah, he's promised to appoint an African-American woman as a vice president. Well, he failed on that promise. That was a failure. He did not follow through with that said promise. As much as people like to tell themselves he did, no, he did not. And let me see if I can find me something real quick. Yeah, I don't know why people tell that lie. If you have to lie for your candidate, he's not a good candidate. And that's what's so crazy. Like, you want to lie to us about this candidate that ain't producing. There we go. And then talk to black folks any old kind of way. Talk to us all kind of crazy. Call us all kind of stupids and whatnot. And, at the end of the day, y'all talking about Kamala Harris is African American. Not sure how clear that is on your screen there, family. But if you guys are kind of looking, the only thing you can see is Caucasian and Jamaica. So you could say Jamaican and you can say Caucasian, but you cannot say black nor African American. Jamaican. Color or race of father. They didn't put black or colored. They put Jamaican. And yep, there's that mother's race right there in the red. So when you have parents, it's hey, Kamala Harris, born to a Caucasian mother and a Jamaican father. So see, an Indian looks at themselves. You can see right there after age 26, an Indian looks at themselves as Caucasian. And then Donald Jasper Harris, he looks at himself and identifies as Jamaican, meaning that neither one of them are identifying as African American, Black, or the likes of such. I really wish this would help a lot of people just get that lie out of their system, but I'm sure it won't. Yeah, there's that part. But moving on to the final story of the evening, which is about Ashley Babbitt and her family over here have decided to try to make her a martyr of some sort. And for those of you who might be unfamiliar or whatnot and have lived under a rock or been trapped up and sitting up living in a shoe, there was an incident in January 6, 2021, where a bunch of an angry white nationalist mob full of, I would have to say, all parties involved, so Democrats and Republicans, to be quite honest, because they were out there not for Donald Trump, but they were out there to overthrow the government for supremacy's sake. And as you see, a great American hero had to step up and subdue the threat. Because as you see, this individual right here with this backpack is climbing through an open window that is already barricaded. So, things probably really doesn't look all that innocent when you're looking at it that way, right? I'm just saying, But nonetheless, there is a little clip that I want y'all to see. Let me see. Why didn't this change? There we go. And this is Ashley Babbitt's
his feelings
mom.
are his feelings. My feelings are the Capitol Police absolutely need to be abolished and at the very least investigated. Michael Byrd needs to swing from the end of a rope, along with Nancy Pelosi. So, Tammy, maybe play some music where they come from.
A rope. A rope, ladies and gentlemen. That's what needs to happen. Salute to Michael Byrd for stepping up and putting out a fire. But now, Ashley Babbitt's mom is upset and thinks that he should be swinging from a tree. I guess maybe she thinks he should be swinging from that noose that they brought and hung up there at the Capitol, right? Well, here's a little bit of the aftermath, I believe.
In the front, unarmed, and they shot her. Yeah, she's dead on the ground, it looks like. She's on the ground.
You guys should be fucking ashamed of yourself. What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you guys fucking kidding me? Piece of fucking shit, look at you. Bro, are you kidding me? Put that nigga ass in the dirt.
So they are looking to sue. I'm sure there's going to be somebody angry about that. Oh, how you making jokes? That's just wrong. When Lieutenant Michael Byrd went home that night, probably went and told his wife, yeah, baby, you don't know what, man, you just don't understand what happened at that. Boy, that was all crazy. But I tell you, boy, I had to.
Put that nigga ass in the dirt.
I'll move on. Woo. Oh, let's see where we gotta go here. Let's see. Oh boy. I'm sure somebody like, oh, you going to hell. Clearly not before Ashley.
Put that nigga ass in the dirt.
So here's a little more from my mama.
I'm happy to have Judicial Watch fighting for Ashley, and I think everybody stands a chance of getting justice for Ashley. It's Judicial Watch, and I know Judicial Watch is going to go forward for Ashley. I think Michael Byrd will face justice. I wake up every day believing that and fighting for that, and it gives me confidence that Judicial Watch is there fighting for Ashley and Aaron, her widower.
All right, so we have a couple things to play. So first this.
Tomorrow will mark 3 years since the January 6th Capitol attack. Since then, the U.S. Attorney in Washington, D.C. says nearly 900 people have been convicted of crimes committed on January 6th, and more than 80 people are still considered wanted. 5 people died in the chaos, including San Diego woman Ashley Babbitt. 140 police officers were hurt, although the top prosecutor for D.C. says the number of injured officers is likely higher. The hundreds of cases are playing out in the same courthouse where Donald Trump is scheduled to stand trial in March. The former president is accused of conspiring to overturn his 2020 election laws.
You don't say. So here's some more of that.
$30 million from the U.S. government. In a wrongful death lawsuit filed Friday, her family claims Babbitt posed no threat to the safety of anyone, claiming she was ambushed when she was shot by Capitol Police Lieutenant Michael Byrd. The lawsuit states,
you just gonna tell us we seeing something else that we not seeing. She was an innocent person who was ambushed? Did y'all just really try that? See, here's the thing that they like doing. Like, if you notice right now with that girl that was killed by the Venezuelan immigrant, they keep bringing up George Floyd. Like, man, if this was George Floyd, and man, if this was George Floyd, they were doing that with Ashley Babbitt. Man, if this was George Floyd, then they would be all over the place. Man, if it was George Floyd, and everything. They'll even talk about there's some black dude kills somebody white. He gets arrested, Johnny on the spot. Man, why ain't there any protests over here? But the protests were because there was no justice being given. So justice had to be taken to the streets. But yeah, run it back just a tad bit, boy. Look at that woman all up in that window. What you talking about? What are you talking about? Man, it's nothing, man.
Ambushed when she was shot by Capitol Police Lieutenant
not
Michael
ambushed.
Byrd. The lawsuit states the lieutenant wasn't in uniform, didn't identify himself, and gave no warnings or commands before shooting her. The 35-year-old from San Diego died on January 6, 2021, after being shot by Lieutenant Byrd as she climbed through a broken window of a barricaded door to the speaker's lobby. She was one of thousands who stormed the Capitol trying to prevent the certification of the election. results. The lawsuit claims Ashley loved her country and that she didn't go to Washington as part of a group or for any unlawful or nefarious purpose. Instead, to exercise what she believed were her God-given American liberties and freedoms.
It's not easy going up against the U.S. government in court, that's for sure.
Craig Barkis is a professor of business law at the University of San Diego. He is not in any way connected to the Babbitt case.
We often tell our students that the federal government will spend whatever time, money, and resources are necessary to crush you.
The Justice Department didn't pursue criminal charges against the officer. He wouldn't face internal discipline. The day after her death, her grandfather's with something she did.
Well, we support her passion. What can I say? You can't argue with her because she'd never win.
Requests for interviews with Ashley's husband and attorneys went unanswered Friday.
The federal government's playing on its home turf in this case. So I think they will avail themselves of all the defenses they think are feasible to try to have this case dismissed.
Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
Well, and of course everybody would like to play up, oh man, she was this, she was that, and this and that. She was an insurrectionist, ma'am. That's what she was. And you don't go from San Diego to Washington, D.C., to the Capitol, say she wasn't with the group. Yeah, she was. She was with what is known as the Capitol rioters. Yeah, that's a group. When you get together and you start collectively coming to, that's like a bunch of people that go burn down a town in Rosewood saying, hey, we weren't a group. Or you go burn down and blow up a Black Wall Street. Oh, but we weren't a group. You became a mob and you became a group. That's how that works. But see, here's how they make it and try to spin it like, oh no. That's why I'm saying, even when the other day with the whole next thing out there in Oklahoma City, that woman was real eager to press charges on them girls, which I have a sneaky suspicion that, or a very, very strong suspicion that them girls were black, because she came in there wanting to press charges, overhyping the whole situation and everything. And then as soon as she found out that her daughter was the number one initiate of the conflict all to begin with, oh, she didn't want to press charges then. The story changed. And the mainstream media and all these people, they're literally trying to get their superintendent fired out there, by the way. In Oklahoma City, the school superintendent, they're trying to get him ousted. And like, she wasn't made safe. She was not jumped. She initiated the fight. That truth has already came out. But I guess the overzealous LGBTQ community out there has just did over the top propaganda and gaslighting, and now you got to go through with something pressing the issue of something that never happened. There were no months of bullying. See, here's the thing that they can't accept. That woman, that girl's mama, was a bold-faced liar. And then when you heard from the girl's mouth, she just met them girls. That does not fit the story in the lie that mother told. It was a lie. She said that them girls had been bothering her child for months. Come to find out, she didn't even know him until that day. That's where that mother's coming from. And the mother is showing up to put charges on children with a lie. So don't tell me about no Ashley Babbitt was this type of person or that type of person. You can miss me with all of that. Because, people don't like to get out there and tell the real deal. However, some people do.
Killed while breaking into the Capitol building on Wednesday, including some troubling interactions. News 8's David Goffert to San Diego about her political beliefs over the phone.
We started with Fowler Pool Service about 33 years ago.
This San Diego man does not want to be identified for fear of retaliation. He was a loyal customer of Fowler's Pool Service for more than 3 decades until a conversation he had about a year ago with the co-owner of the Spring Valley Company. Forget.
I brought it up, I think, about a political race that had just happened. And Ashley absolutely went over Trump and about Nancy Pelosi and Schumer and homeless people, and she said a lot of it didn't even make any sense. So, and literally went on for about a minute and a half.
Ashley Babbitt is the Trump supporter who was shot and killed by Capitol Police on Wednesday as she tried to storm through a window towards the House chamber. Babbitt and her family currently has no connection to the business.
It was shocking that the way she was to me.
And you said he stopped doing business with the company, telling the pool service man in person he was fired.
I said, I'm going to have to let you guys go. I said, I just think it was too much. And so he said, she's done that to other customers, and I'm going to talk to her. And I said, well, I'm sorry. And so I hired another pool company.
The pool company's Spring Valley office was closed for free zone. There was a bouquet of red roses delivered on the front stoop of the office, addressed to Babbitt's husband, Aaron. A neighboring business owner told us to leave the property and close the gate behind us. Babbitt's husband works for that pool service company, and so do several of his family members. We reached out to the family for a response, but we did not hear back. Carlo?
And David, what does the Fowler family have to say about all this publicity surrounding Ashley Babbitt?
I spoke to the former owner of that company. He says he retired and sold the business 3 years ago, and he has no personal relationship with Ashley Babbitt or her family. He simply sold them the business.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. So don't let these folks come out here selling this, what this woman was innocent of. No, she wasn't. And she was already, she loved her country. No, she didn't. She loved her ideals, which were very right-leaning and right-wing-ish. So I just would have to imagine what her feelings on black people were. Oh, one can probably imagine. You feel me? Yeah. Yeah, so her mama over here talking about black men should swing from ropes. And funny is, the thing about it is, this hasn't blown up more than what it should have. Because this is Ashley Babbitt's mama talking. So if Ashley Babbitt's mama talks like this, well, then it makes sense to what that man said about how she was talking. Because this is her mother.
You know, his feelings are his feelings. My feelings are the Capitol Police absolutely need to be abolished and at the very least investigated. Michael Byrd needs to swing from the end of a rope along with Nancy Pelosi. So, Tammy, maybe play some music where they come from.
But at the end of the day, it was Lieutenant Byrd that had the last laugh.
Put that nigga ass in the dirt.
I mean, there's that part. And now, looking at how all of these people are trying to come out and be like, man, Ashley Babbitt was done wrong. We need justice for Ashley Babbitt. Blah, 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 blah. Stop. No justice for no Ashley Babbitt. She was a rioter. And that's just that. So she went in there. Man, she was innocent, man. And oh, man. Now, this is what you would expect out of right-wing type of talk. But at the same time, let's not forget the flip side of that same coin, because for CNN, so many years had Christopher Cuomo on their platform. Now he's over here at News Nation after his scandal, after his misdoings. And so, he get a chance to get over at News Nation, I guess, be a little more on the conservative side of the game than liberal, because these people are actors and puppets that will mirror any language or any messaging of their patrons. Like this guy right here, who is literally trying to make excuses for Subway Bronson, that murdering piece of crap, Daniel Penny.
Threatened by the home. Because somebody is screaming is not a legally justified reason to kill somebody.
No, hold on.
It's
Ellie.
just not.
Ellie, I didn't say it is, but that's also not what we know that happened. If this man is one of the passengers who felt threatened by the homeless man saying that he was going to hurt them, if that's what the record shows when we get the testimony, and you haven't seen it, so you don't know that that's not what it is, neither do I, that's why we have to have an investigation. If he had a reasonable fear of being assaulted, then you are able to defend yourself reasonably with commensurate force.
Well, no. This man could have pissed his pants, as far as we know. He could have been scared out of his wits. That doesn't give him a reasonable justification for killing somebody. You can only use deadly force when you are met with deadly force. There has been nothing in any record. None of the other passengers, not the man who took the video, has suggested that this man, this homeless man, Jordan Neely, was threatening anybody with deadly force. So to use deadly force against him, and here, again, the fact that he's a former Marine and knows exactly how deadly the force he was using could be. The ability to use deadly force against somebody when you are not threatened with deadly force is not a justification for homicide. Is it murder or is it manslaughter? That's more of a legal question. I personally.
Now there's Cuomo trying to see. Wait a minute, and see how they start inferring all of these things to which you don't even know could actually be true or not. Why would you interject that in when you clearly see this man getting choked out? You're trying to be subjective. Are you kidding? This man is getting choked out and while being jumped by multiple people. Oh, but they're trying to restrain him. Restrain what? He committed no crime. And the man that's committing the crime walked up from behind him. From behind. There's no threat when you're behind someone. That's why he felt comfortable to walk up there and choke that man out this world. And you want us to feel any kind of sympathy for Ashley Babbitt, who went from San Diego, California, all the way over to Washington, D.C. to overthrow her own government. And while her mother talks like this.
His feelings are his feelings. My feelings are the Capitol Police absolutely need to be abolished and at the very least investigated. Michael Byrd needs to swing from the end of a rope, along with...
Yeah, well, Michael Byrd did what now?
Put that nigga ass in the dirt.
Yeah, remember that part, moms. Remember that this great American hero is the police, but now you calling for police. And I'm sorry, where is it that you can threaten law enforcement and say things like that? Isn't that inciting violence? And the mainstream media has said much of nothing about this woman. Why do you think that is? Because when you look at this woman, you just know in the spirit of which they coming. And so how wouldn't this man feel threatened with a woman who was coming through the window, who was raised by this woman who literally advocates for lynching? Are we seeing the back the badge backpedal, because these were the main group. These are the main folks who were out there. Gotta back the badge, gotta back the thin blue line, and we gotta respect our police, and this your patriotic duty to show honor to the cops, and we're gonna show all this love to the first responders, except for Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor, a whole EMT, and they talking about, oh, she was selling drugs. What kind of love did she get for being a first responder? Got gunned down in her house, butt naked. And somehow kneeling during the national anthem, to which, by the way, itself song also speaks of slavery. You know, although they like to omit that verse and then call it America's theme, and it includes everybody. No, it don't. No, it does not. So these are the type of people you deal with out here. Absolute, devout, dishonest, lying pieces of crap. And for me, you look at how all of these people went out there and all of this went on, and the whole world was watching, right? Well, if nothing else, Ashley Babbitt's mom should feel some kind of solace because of this other story that I need to show y'all. Let me see here. And this is just ridiculous, man. Let me just tell you right off the bat. So, let me stop sharing that, and I need to share this with y'all. Okay, hold on. Okay. Let me share this with y'all. Okay. All right. So you should see this now. Let's get in here. Okay. All right. That's what I want. See what's happening here, family? DC Circuit tosses enhancement used in hundreds of January 6th felony cases. The DC Circuit Court of Appeals said Friday a retired Air Force officer who entered the floor of the U.S. Senate on January 6, 2021, had received an improper enhancement to his sentencing, issuing an opinion that could result in hundreds of defendants seeking lower sentences in their own cases. You think that this judge didn't know what he was doing? You better know it. Larry Rendell Brock of Grapevine, Texas, was convicted in a bench trial in November 2022 of one felony count of obstruction of an official proceeding and 4 misdemeanor counts. He was sentenced by United States District Judge John Bates in March 2023 and 2 years, March 23 to 2 years in prison. Images from the Capitol riot show Brock, a retired Air Force lieutenant, wearing a combat helmet and tactical vest and carrying zip tie handcuffs on the floor of the Senate chamber after members of Congress had been evacuated from their joint session. At trial, prosecutors showed evidence Brock had sent another military veteran a manifesto on Christmas Eve 2020 that called for, among other things, seizing all Democratic politicians. Key staff members of the incoming Biden administration and members of the national media. Do not kill Leo, law enforcement, unnecessary. I'm sure that probably meant unnecessarily, but Brock included as a part of a task list. Gas would assist in this if we can get it. Yeah, see that guy right there? He has zip ties in his hands, tactical vests. He's ready to go do something there, isn't he? Yeah, you see it. So Brock appealed his sentence, arguing the evidence was insufficient to show that he had knowingly and corruptly obstructed the joint session. Sitting in there with zip ties and a tactical vest wouldn't indicate that you interfered. You weren't trying to obstruct with zip tie handcuffs, huh? I'm sure there's a whole lot of guys that see when you start talking about stuff like that. Well, hey, there's not if you go with that, how many people that have been discovered to be mass harmers out here, and they got stopped based on having them zip ties in their car and got caught up that way. I'm just saying. Let's see. Friday, a 3-judge panel of the D.C. Circuit upheld his conviction, saying the evidence against him was more than sufficient, but agreed with another argument that he'd been improperly sentenced using enhancements intended to push acts that obstruct judicial proceedings. In a unanimous opinion, Judge Patricia Millett, Cornelia Pillard, and Judith W. Rogers said a lower court judge had improperly applied a 3-level enhancement against Brock for conduct that resulted in, quote, substantial interference with the administration of justice, unquote. 3 women judges. So if you guys are wondering where some of these women will be voting, especially the white women, there you go. Show you what team they're on. Damn. Let's see. Where was I at? Okay, the judges, who were all nominated to the federal bench by Democratic presidents, Millett and Pillard by former President Barack Obama, Rogers, former President Bill Clinton, said the enhancement was intended to punish defendants who committed acts like witness tampering. I know a lot of black folks that probably had that charge misused on them, but whatever. Assaulting process servers or obstructing criminal investigations. Oh, so now we're getting into what the tone of the law was, not the letter. Got it. Quote, we must apply the guidelines as written. Wow, where were you guys in my situation, huh? And Brock's interference with one stage of the Electoral College vote counting process, while no doubt endangering our democratic processes and temporarily detailing Congress constitutional work, did not interfere with the administration of justice, the justice wrote. This man is standing on the floor of where the business of the government is supposed to be going on, but instead they have to get evacuated out because of this insurrection. I'm confused. How is that not an obstruction of justice? Phooey. And pay attention. See, this also sets a precedent for over 100, so hundreds of cases. Basically, these three ladies gave all of this January Sixers a get out of jail free card. At least they can argue that, hey, this was harsh. And maybe the whole thing should be thrown out. They couldn't even wait 5 whole years. 3 years. Oh man, we can't have these people just ruin these lives and stuff. We got to get our folks out now. We good people. Just like Joe Biden said about the Confederate flag flyers. You know, there's mighty fine people over there. Y'all might be like, oh no, that was Donald Trump. Oh, better go back to my last broadcast. The judges ordered Brock, who is currently serving his 2-year prison term at MCFP Springfield in Missouri, back to Judge Bates' courtroom for resentencing. The opinion might shave several months off Brock's sentence, which fell at the low end of the 24 to 30 months Bates calculated he faced, as well as the other January 6 defendants convicted of obstructing the joint session who received the same enhancement. So it's almost seeming, okay, well, let's make a problem in prosecution that now later can be overturned once the smoke clears. So remember, these are Democratic elected judges. Democrat elected judges. 2 of which by Obama. Wondering what team they on, huh? The opinion might shape some of them. Okay, what was that? The defendants who stand to benefit most, however, are those who received a separate but related enhancement under the same guideline as Brock for causing or threatening injury or damage in order to obstruct the administration of justice. That enhancement, which adds 8 additional offense levels, has been used in some of the most serious January 6 cases involving defendants convicted of assaulting or threatening police, although Bates declined to apply that enhancement in Brooks' case. The judge's opinion likely means it too cannot be used in January 6 cases. The opinion could potentially result in hundreds of January 6 defendants convicted on felony obstruction count returning to court to seek resentencing in their cases, although not every judge on the D.C. District Court has found the enhancements applicable. The majority of judges have applied them. Perhaps the most notable exception is U.S. District Judge Trevor McFadden, a nominee of former President Donald Trump, who found early on that the language of the guideline didn't match the conduct in the obstruction charge. McFadden has, however, frequently varied upward in his sentences in January 6 obstruction cases to account for what the enhancement would have done, as he did in September 2022, yes, when he sentenced former U.S. Army reservist and Nazi sympathizer Timothy Hale Kuzalani to 4 years in prison. Wow. So yeah, I'm not really worried about that quote. The circuit's decision Friday comes on the heels of a ruling by a different panel late last year that another category of January 6 defendants, those convicted only of Class B or petty misdemeanors, had also been wrongfully sentenced. in some cases to both jail time and supervision. An appeal is currently scheduled to be heard by the United States Supreme Court later this year to determine whether the obstruction of the official proceeding charge has been improperly brought in more than 300 January 6 cases. In April, the D.C. Circuit upheld the use of that charge in a 2-1 decision. Well, this is looking very interesting. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Wow. So, family, it looks like they are pulling an okey doke, if you will. I'm white and I say so policies look like they're in full effect here. And pretty much what it's all about. So watch. Here's the thing, though. You realize they ran down on the government. What is the difference between their energy and the Confederacy's energy? Some might say they hold the same values, core values at that. Don't you think that's a safe assumption that these people hold the same core values as the people to whom fought the Civil War? So, never forget that this woman who they're trying to make a martyr, who is not, unless you were just saying she was a martyr for supremacy, because at the end of the day, she was raised by her mother, and her mother clearly has anti-Black bias deep within her heart.
His feelings are his feelings. My feelings are the Capitol Police absolutely need to be abolished and at the very least investigated. Michael Byrd needs to swing from the end of a rope along with Nancy Pelosi. So, Tammy, maybe play some music where they come from.
And meanwhile, ma'am, Michael Byrd is at home chilling, saying, ma'am,
put that nigga ass in the dirt.
Babylon is falling. Babylon is falling. Let it fall and let us rise. Can you dig it? So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in one more time on this Friday evening. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate all the people who have the replay gang. I appreciate y'all. And if you guys have given any super chats or you would like to donate to this channel and, it's going on, peace, power, blessings, and protection be up on you and yours. I appreciate all of y'all. So with that being said, there's going to be a lot of butthurt supremacists out here and even some butthurt wannabes, and we know because we already know what a wannabe supremacist is. This is what they look like. And then later they might just come around and pass themselves off as Black. But in any event, those of you who thought that this woman was innocent and somehow that this law-abiding police officer did something wrong while protecting and defending the hallway where actual lawmakers are, this woman, if she had survived this, should have been actually getting some serious charges. And then you heard as well her sentiment from the other guy when he said her views, and now you hear what her mama talking about. So I would have to say it probably doubly hurts the mother, because you've been giving your daughter all of these anti-black views all of these years, and in one fell swoop, life changed for Ashley Babbitt because Lieutenant Michael Byrd
Put that nigga ass in the dirt.
So there might be somebody out there that says, hey, you are wrong for this and you are wrong for not supporting. Ashley Babbitt was no violent person at all, and Jordan Neely deserved what he got, and George Floyd was a drug overdose, and he wasn't killed by Derek Chauvin. And if all of these other people were George Floyd, oh man, the world would be screaming, and there'd be a bunch of protests for all of these other people if their names were George Floyd. Well, tonight, to all of you watching who may partake or enjoy some good old raisin field potato salad. Well, and an over garliced green bean casserole. I can speak for myself. beatzillapdx official. The beatzillapdx official show. Those of you in the chat, the Black Grassroots, Voices of New Black Media, I think it's safe to say that I speak for all parties involved when I tell all of you backwards Confederate flag flying hillbillies, we proudly dedicate this song to you.
Get up off of that cocaine and get up off of that crack. Get yourself together and get your mind back.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, you can follow me at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at beatzillapdx. You can email me at ourrealtruth@gmail.com. And if you feel so inclined to put some money in the bucket by way of donation to help this broadcast and channel out, you can do so by way of CashApp, $beatzillapdx. That's CashApp, $beatzillapdx. Also, we have PayPal, which is Zilla Muzak. That is ZILLAMUZAK at PayPal. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to rock, shake the spot. So, let's see here where we at with it. Yeah, that is everything I had for y'all this evening. And shout out to Gucci Man for the attendance in this evening. And shout out to the great American hero, Lieutenant Michael Byrd. Because, man,
Put that nigga ass in the dirt.
hashtag hands off our reparations.
You have no rights here. We're not under the empire.
And if I didn't say it, we also have PayPal, which is Zilla Muzak, ZILLAMUZAK at PayPal. And so, ladies and gentlemen, keep your 3 smooth stones at the ready. Keep your slingshot nearby. And, I hope everybody has a great, blessed, prosperous weekend. Stay away from suckers and stay black. Stay vigilant. Stay alive. Black first, black first, black first. Shalom, y'all. Y'all have a good weekend. Peace.
When you know who Satan is, yes, sir, you don't have to kill him. No. The stone of truth. Yeah. See, that's what you throw. Yes, right. Allah says, had we wished to take a pastime from before, surely we would have done it. Nay, we cast truth at falsehood till we knock out its brains. every one of you that knows the truth, stand up and tell it from the mountaintop. Black people can't take it no more. So wherever you are on the job, in the factory, I don't care where you are. If you know the truth, stand up on the truth and tell Satan, who the hell are you to try and pick my friends? Farrakhan is God's man, and you are from the enemy of God. So to hell with you. Stand up on it like a man.
Thank you.